That the last 1,000 years was not a story of repeated defeats. It was a story of the greatest resistance in human history. Because many of the other ancient cultures which suffered the same invader, or the Turks and the Europeans, they all died out. We are still here, the only pre-Bronze Age culture that is still alive. We should be proud of the bravery and courage of our ancestors. Um, it is 1,000 years of perhaps the greatest resistance in human history. But we must also honestly analyze that in the times that we lost in the last 1,000 years, what are the things, uh, what are the areas where our ancestors made mistakes, so that we don't repeat those mistakes. And I wanted to speak briefly on my analysis of the mistakes and set aside, of course, their immense courage that our ancestors had. किसी ने हमारी सभ्यता को खैरात में हमें नहीं दिया है, हमारे पूर्वजों ने लड़ के उसे बचाया है. We must be proud of the courage of our ancestors. But what are the areas in which they made mistakes? One thing that is very obvious is internal disunity. Shashiji spoke briefly of Malik Kafur, or actually, sorry, the video is going off and on, so I don't know who, but someone did speak of Malik Kafur, who is among the greatest temple breakers in human history. He perhaps second only to Aurangzeb. And this is one of the things that we must consider. So, among the things that are worth thinking about Malik Kafur is his name, Malik Kafur. He was a kafir. He was actually a Hindu convert. So, among the greatest temple breakers in human history was actually a Hindu convert. And this just didn't happen there are many others who supported, sadly, the Turks, warriors who were willing to die, Indian warriors, Hindu warriors, willing to die for Turkic masters. This sadly happened. It happened during the British era as well. The British conquered India because of Purabiya soldiers from Eastern UP, Bihar, Bengal. They used them to defeat the Punjabis and Pathans and Marathas. And then post 1857, when the Purabiyas rebelled, they used Punjabi and Gurkha soldiers to defeat the Purabiyas. Essentially, Indians and Hindus won India for the British. And we didn't just have internal disunity and traitors within the fields of warriorship. Jagat Seth, the great, among the wealthiest businessmen of the 18th century, actually funded Robert Clive's army. And so many times our own businessmen, actually, our own businessmen who supported the biggest drug smuggling racket in human history, which was Queen Victoria's British Raj, when they did opium smuggling into China. Indian businessmen, sadly, some Indian businessmen supported them, which actually hurt India also tremendously. Many of the famines were caused by this. So the first thing that strikes in disunity within Indians, how can we control that today? The second thing that strikes me is, did we do enough Purva Paksha, an analysis of the enemies that confront us with a calm mind, not swinging on either extreme? Don't don't think that all religions speak, everyone wants to speak of love and unity, and everything is hunky dory. Don't go on the absolute positive approach. Don't go on the absolute negative approach where you start hating your enemies and don't see the strengths that they had. Did we do an actual calm Purva Paksha? I suspect we didn't do that, which is why we misread our enemies very often. Jagat Seth would probably not have funded Robert Clive, even though he did it to fight against a very barbaric ruler in Siraj-ud-Dawla. But he probably won't have funded Robert Clive if he understood what the British mindset was as well. So did we fail in Purva Paksha, a calm analysis of of our enemies and indeed other people as well, something Chanakya used to do. And the third thing, we forgot, I think, one of the key principles that Acharya Chanakya spoke of finding common purpose between people who have fundamentally different approaches but are still Indian, are still Hindu. Uh, so, for example, Acharya Chanakya used allied with the might of the forest tribes to fight the Nandas. That's among the things that's taught to us in history. Whereas we Hindus and Indians find almost every reason to keep dividing ourselves. The vegetarians against the meat eaters, languages, caste, community. We find every other reason, to not find the commonality of purpose, and that there are times when different approaches are required. I'll end with this wonderful example of the samanvay between different groups that I saw in a Ranakpur Jain temple. I wonder how many of you have been to the Ranakpur Jain temple. Rishabh Dev, the founder of Jainism, is there in the Garbhagriha. It's a Jain temple. The entire area is completely vegetarian. Rishabh Dev, Adinath Rishabh Dev, as you can imagine, completely non-violent, completely vegetarian. His murti is there in the Garbhagriha. But at the door of the Garbhagriha is Bhairabnath Ji himself. Bhairabnath Ji, for those who are aware, is an Ansh of Lord Shiva. And we all know Bhairabnath Ji temples, you serve meat, you serve alcohol. He's a very aggressive god. And at this Murti of Bhairabnath Ji at the door of the Garbhagriha is showing in his traditional form. He's holding a sword, he's holding a shield, he's holding the cut head of a Rakshas in the third hand. There's a dog under that cut head drinking up the blood, a bit like preventing Raktabij. Think of the partnership. Rishabh Dev, the paragon of pacifism, vegetarianism, non-violence, and Bhairav Ji at the door. Essentially, Bhairav Ji, in a way, giving a message to Rishabh Dev, आप ध्यान करिए जब तक मैं यहाँ खड़ा हूँ कोई भी राक्षस अंदर नहीं आएगा. And Rishabh Dev also realizing the value of Bhairav Ji. This partnership, how do we ensure that that we can understand each other within the Hindu culture and realize the importance of different groups, even though we may have completely different approaches within ourselves? That only when India survives, only when India is strong, will all of its individual components also survive. These are thoughts I wanted to